Hello. Let's start this week off with some important lessons. I hope everyone's day is going well. When you get here, just say that you're here so I can say hi to you so I can see it. I am in the guest room, which has been our room since quarantine. Our room felt too big for me, and I was like, I need to be in somewhere cozy during this 3-month quarantine. It made me feel like a lot safer. So this is the guest room, but this is also what has been our room for the past 3 months. So I'll just give you a little, all my oils, my books, and then kind of just like a really super calming place. I painted this room last year before quarantine and then just kind of like shifted the vibe. So I had this good call with a client on Saturday, and so it's Monday, and I was like, I call these shower epiphanies. Like whenever a shower epiphany comes, I'm like, okay, that is just what I'm going to call these from now on. So I had one, I just got out of the shower, and she was like, I could never do 5 hours of coaching sessions back to back. And I was like, yes, you can. You just you have to work your way up to that. So when I first started being a coach in 2012, this is now 8 years ago, I had 2 clients, and I had 2 clients a week. So that's only 2 hours of coaching. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. On top of that, I was teaching full-time yoga and barre. I was teaching full-time yoga. Barre hadn't come yet. And so I had 2 coaching clients, and I was teaching yoga classes all over. Hey, Cassie. I was teaching these yoga classes all over Seattle, North Bend, Bellevue, basically anywhere where they were like, teach yoga. I was like, doing it. And so I was teaching yoga all over the place. And I had these 2 coaching clients. And listening and drinking. Of course you are. Yes, of course you are. I just had a juice. Delish. And so I had these coaching clients, and I was like, woo, on top of my game and stuff. And then as time went on, I was like, oh my God. And all of a sudden I had this pressure to have these clients get results. And I felt like the pressure of that. And so I had 2 clients for a while. Then I had a couple more, and then a couple more. And I was coaching 1 to 2 hours, 5 days a week. And I was burning out. That might not even sound like a lot, but in every coaching session I have, it's either straight on business stuff where it's a sales page. Can you look at my Facebook posts? How do I make this sales page sound more enticing? And then I'm editing grammar stuff and spelling, mostly spelling, because grammar, that's not my forte. It's spelling. And then how can you make sentences make more sense in shorter words? So that's what I'm working on with my clients. And so when I'm doing that, that's some of the sessions, but the majority of the sessions I do with clients now for the last 5 years have been on healing, and have been on autoimmune, and have been on trauma, very specific to traumatic events, traumatic history, present trauma that's happening. And so to hear 1 or 2 sessions a day, it might not sound like a lot, but it is a lot. If you were a fly on the wall in these sessions, you'd be like, oh my God, I would be exhausted after one. And so I had to build that muscle over time, over the last 8 years of being a coach. It's kind of like an athlete. That's how I think about my mind, is an athlete, they don't start off doing jumping lunges, jumping split lunges. They do a walking lunge. They go forward, they go back, they go to the side, and then they throw in a squat, and then they go forward, back, side, doing all that stuff. And then as their muscle builds, they're like, oh, I can add a jump, and I can do a split squat or a split lunge. And then I'm doing these squats, and then I'm adding kettlebells, and that's the evolution of everything. So when I had the client say to me this Saturday, how do you coach 5 hours back to back? And I was like, I couldn't have done this 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it would have burned me out, autoimmune flare up. Now I can coach. I've brought in clients that work so well with me, and that is so important. If you're a founder of a company, if you're a coach right now, if you want to be a coach, if you are working with someone whose energy is off, who you are not vibing with, Bye. Don't know where they're going. If you are working with someone, energy is off, it will be a battle. Mental and emotional stamina right there. Yes. Exactly. It's like you have to have both the mental and then to do those things. So, okay, back to the energy piece. So if you're working with a client whose energy is off or who's like fighting you back on a lot of things, you have two choices. One, you hard coach them. You go, okay, well, are you willing to look at some of the things, that are on your end that could be causing these reactions that could, or you could go, I'm mirroring the behavior you are exhibiting to me, and I'm just mirroring it back to you and saying, how does it feel? That's like a parenting approach to do, or, the golden rule. So you have a few choices when you're being a coach and how to deal with difficult clients. And then the third part is just to go, you know what? This is absolutely right for you to go your own way and for me to go my own way. I have let go of clients throughout the years, people who weren't vibing with me and who I wasn't vibing with. And it's not a big deal. It's just, okay, go on your own way and they can find someone who vibes with them. And then you bring more aligned clients to yourself. It is so important for your energies to mesh. And you will know that on a discovery call. You will know if there's like a few red flags going off. But when you are starting off as a coach, when you are starting off as a trainer, when you are starting off as anything, you just want to get people in through the door so you're not as selective or choosy. But the smart thing to do when you're first starting a business is to be selective, is to be choosy, is to make sure that you're going to show up for these people. And while you're on a discovery call with them, you're going to make sure that those people are going to vibe really well with you. Because imagine calling in all the wrong clients, and you're calling in all the wrong clients, and now you are working with those people. What that is going to do for your energy is it's going to drain you quickly. And I've helped clients with this when they have had clients and they are trying to take all their energy away. I've taught boundaries. I had to learn this myself in like 2014. I was Reiki certified, level 1 and 2. I became a hypnotherapist last year because I am so into the depths of how to protect your energy, how to create healthy boundaries without feeling like, okay, so Brittany, what up, girl? She says, I can't imagine that many sessions in a day. I have a friend that has been calling me the last 3 days for advice and help, and I'm drained from our 1 hour conversations. I eventually said I can't help anymore until after July 12th. Yeah, so that's a good way of creating a boundary, is having that date that you go, okay, I'm done. Also, there is a different kind of energy exchange when it's with a friend. When it's with a friend, you are much more empathetic. You can feel their pain more, especially if you're naturally an empath. Now, when you are with a client, you have to love your clients. Like, you have got to be on the same page with your clients. When it's with a client, it's a completely different energy exchange because you want them to succeed. Like, you want them to get the best results possible. So it's more of an empowered empathy. So it's like hearing what they're saying and sitting in it with them for a second to go, oh my gosh, you're basically a remarkable human, which they are. Don't say it if you don't mean it. They are. And then it's going, now how can we grow from that situation? Or, doing some shadow work. Where were your faults in that situation? Is there a point that you saw the red flag, but you kept going along and they're like, oh yes, my dad was like that. My mom was like that. My brother treated me like that. So it was familiar. It seemed easy. So there's all these different things that go into why you do the things you do. But Brittany, I would say, yeah, Cassie, you've been there. This is good. Awesome. Brittany, I would say to you, a really good way is to, even standing with your feet on the ground, I like to put my palms in the center of my chest when I'm listening to a friend, if it's not on FaceTime. If it is on FaceTime, I am like in it with them. But if it's not on FaceTime, I'm just like breathing. I might have a window open, because when you are drained, you've taken on someone else's energy. So if you're sensitive to energy, you probably have experienced vertigo before. If you have autoimmune, you probably have experienced vertigo before. And it's what I've found I've had it on and off since 2009. So 11 years now. What I found is that it's a total energy, and it's that I've taken on someone else's energy. Like, I was walking in my neighborhood the other day, and I met a neighbor I had never met, and we were talking about something. I can't remember what was said, but it was like I fell backwards. It was like a sonic boom energy, and I was just like, okay, that was definitely not vertigo. That was her thing. Like, she threw something at me unknowingly, probably. And I felt it, and I was like, okay, well, Bodhi and I got to go, and I got to get on a call. So I just left immediately, because now knowing that it's an energy, I'm like, I got to get the hell out of that situation. And if you are sensitive to different energies, if you are an empath, if you have autoimmune, you are going to sense the moment you walk into a room what kind of environment that is. And if you can imagine, the more women coming on my retreats, the more I have really had to hold this energetic container so people's energies mesh together. And if there is an issue, I usually hear about it. Like, probably 10 times out of 10, I can hear about any issue. Even if someone said, oh, I heard someone, blah, blah, I will hear about it. And then I will take that and I will bring it into the room as like you are safe here. You are welcome to be yourself. There is no point in wearing a mask. And that's the kind of energy I try to create on every retreat. As the numbers have grown, it has gotten difficult, and that's why I have amazing assistance, amazing help. Cassie says, majorly had to protect myself. Oh my God. I can't even imagine hairdressers. I think about hairdressers all the time, especially mine. Shay, shout out. I think about her all the time, and like everything that we talk about can get heavy really fast. That's why I love her, and that's why I love talking with her. But I always think about her and like what she goes through on a day-to-day. So Cassie says, I had to protect myself when I was behind the chair every day listening to women. I had to find a way to pour into people without draining and sacrificing myself in the process. You have to. Your energy is everything. Everything is energy. Once you get that concept down, you realize it's not just like something we talk about. Energy is everything. If you have negative, toxic, that kind of energy coming through, and you're trying to grow a business, if you're frantic, if you desperately want clients, people will feel that. If you are empowered, if you're confident, if you have an offer that you know someone would benefit from and they're a fool to not take advantage of, you come across in a completely different way. You're like, I have something that can remedy your situation. And then you talk about it in the most confident way. People feel that. Your sales will go through the roof. But if you're like, I'm desperate to make money, I'm desperate, that is so, you can smell it. I can feel it when I see people posting. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could help her. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I wish I could help her. Brittany says, I'm so sensitive to energy. Me too, girl. That's why we clicked the moment we met. I was like, ooh, I love her. When people are naturally really light, there's also, a lot of shadow work that goes beyond that. But when people are naturally really light, they're drawn to the light. Unfortunately, those really light people, and I've had to learn this throughout the last 10 or 15 years, those really light, bright people attract a lot of darkness. They just do, naturally, because we have to have the balance, the light and the dark. So when people are naturally big, bright lights, they attract people that are like, that's a little bit too bright. I want to dim that a little bit. And you will have people, and you're like, when people say things and you're like, was that an insult? And it's like you second guess yourself, because you're like, I feel like that was offensive, but you said it in such an undercurrent that I'm not sure. But then as you get a little bit more in your own, power in your own skin, you're going, well, now I know how that person feels about me. And I think as you get older and as you get more confident, you don't care as much. And that's just how it is. Because if I was caring about what anyone were to feel as I'm just like freely talking, I would be having a lot of butts and some space in between it, because I would be too much in here. But everything that's coming out of me is flowing through something else as a message. And it's not coming from me. Like, I'm not going to be drained after this. I'm actually pumped. I'm actually excited. I'm actually like buzzing, hands shaking. I was doing that. My hands weren't shaking. But I'm actually buzzing because I feel like this is such an important message to get out to anyone who has energy issues. Cassie said, making so much sense. I've never heard this, and it's giving me a huge mental clarity moment. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? That's the whole point. I would love to hear what your huge mental clarity moment is. That's awesome, Cassie. I'm so freaking glad. That's the thing is like with the whole activate your gifts, when I switched, and I'm still both. I'm a Libra. I'm always going to be both. Company started off as fearful to fit. Then we have activate your gifts. Fearful to fit is huge on health, autoimmune, weight loss. Activate your gifts is on life purpose, bringing all your existing gifts to the surface and building a business from them. It made sense to have both of these things be my offerings because I'm good at both of them. So I just brought them together, and now I get to do both. I don't have to just do weight loss. I don't have to just do business coaching. I get to be both, just like you do too. But it takes a lot of mental clarity to come to that, to go, well, people know me for this. So what if I change and then I lose people? Well, you're going to lose people along the way. And that's just how it's supposed to go. Because as you grow and evolve as a human, as an adult, as a soul having a human experience, as you continue to grow, people will slough off. People come in for a reason, and you guys get what you need from each other, and then they keep moving forward. Then they move out. So I don't worry about that. I think when the whole Black Lives Matter movement came out, I lost more than 300 followers on Instagram, some on Facebook, and only 2 people unsubscribed from my emails. So I was like, I knew I had the right people with me. But it was interesting to see all those people drop off from Instagram. And so I was like, interesting. But also making more room for people that are supposed to be with you as your evolution continues to evolve, expand, grow. So I think that you protecting your energy is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. And if you haven't learned how to do it, there's so many ways. I think on the last video I did when I was having an autoimmune flare-up, which now I'm almost over with, which is so exciting because I know I don't have to make myself crazy thinking, oh my God, is this COVID? I know my autoimmune symptoms, and it happens to be tonsil stones in my tonsils. I know that those are symptoms of autoimmune stress flare-up, and they're not anything else. So when you fully know your body and you listen and you are so in tune, it will be so much easier for you to heal what has happened, like emotionally, mentally, physiologically, physically. It will be so much easier for you to be able to heal what has happened. When we talk about trauma, I'm just diving in with this arrow to trauma tunnel. When we talk about trauma, it doesn't have to be something so grandiose that you read on the news. A trauma can be something that when you were a little kid and, your parent gave you a bad look, like made you feel like an idiot, made you feel stupid, made you feel less than. That's a trauma. That's a trauma to your little child self. And what helps when you start to identify those traumas is that you get to heal them. So you heal that 5-year-old self. So you heal that 11-year-old self, that 21, that 35, that 40, that 50, and you just continue to heal yourself once you know, oh, wow, that was such a hurtful thing to that little 5-year-old self that I now get to go heal that. And so it is so much fun to do healing work with my clients. And if you are not getting that from a mentor or coach, it is something I totally encourage you to explore, is making sure your mentor also is looking out for your mind and healing in whatever modality he or she chooses. Now, one thing I want to leave you with, so you have some actual tool to take home, is that, oh wait, what'd Brittany say? I just learned about a year ago to protect my energy, and it changed my life a lot. I lost friends and so many amazing, new people have come into my life. That's exactly what happens. I think when I stopped drinking, I really stopped drinking when I was 26, and a little bit before that. So I'm 35 now, so it's almost been 10 years. I lost so many friends, like all of them, it felt like, because they were all still going out and doing things. And there was like a few of them who weren't, but I felt like I lost all of my friends. And then I attracted, and I was attracted to all these really spiritual people, all these healers. And like now my friends are intuitive psychics and healing women, shadow workers, like, and to be in that place where I feel like I've always wanted to go towards, like with the weird people, I'm like, man, I'm just like all of them. And it's been an awesome experience. So Brittany, I know exactly what you're talking about. So how do we protect our energy? So I got this lesson from, I can't remember who it was, but it's to put your palm right over your sacral chakra, right below your belly button, and then put your other palm on top. When someone is telling you an experience that is very traumatic or painful or something that you don't want to take on, I just keep my palms over my sacral chakra as a way to block it and a way to protect it. And so I just listen and I do this, and sometimes I do it in my coaching sessions. I take a lot of deep breaths to cleanse. I have a really high alkaline diet, so lots of greens, juiced, lots of citrus, lots of plant-based meals. So there's a lot of great ways to protect your energy. So again, palm over palm on the sacral chakra, having a more alkaline diet, breath work. We know breath work, right? Breath work, meditation, visualization, all those things. So these are all great ways to protect your energy. And if you are thinking about how to stimulate your central nervous system, then you probably maybe know something about alternate nostril breath. So and do this with me right now. I can't see you. I wish I could, because I'd be like, get it. Put that pointer over, you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exit, 2, 3, 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, open, 2, 3. Do that like 5 rounds and you'll almost feel high. I used to smoke a lot of weed, so I know what high feels like. And like, I used to smoke a lot of weed. I was dating a guy who was like a pothead beyond all potheads. I mean, probably a dealer. I don't know. And maybe wasn't a dealer. I don't know. There's lots of secrets in that closet. Never really knew him. So I know what it feels like to be high, but for the last almost decade, it's just natural breath work, visualization, meditation, food, drinks, journaling, talking about it, spending time in nature. Cool. Not about weed. Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing is like when you're doing shadow work and you're like, oh, my past, all that stuff. It's like, why would I feel ashamed about that? I had some of my best times. It was so much fun. I just remember laughing with my girlfriend so hard. So another thing for you to bring your energy in alignment is to do shadow work. That shadow work is like another way of saying the sabotager in your head that goes, I don't really want to own this part of me. And an example I used earlier to my sister on the phone, I was like, so it's like you having a bitchy side and going, well, I don't want a bitchy side. And then going, well, think about the ways that bitchy side has helped you in your life. That bitchy side has probably got you discounts on hotels. That bitchy side has got you really excellent service. That bitchy side has also worked for you in your career because you've gotten the position. So being aware that piece of you is with you at all times and it can work for the greater good. So honoring that shadow side with the things that you love about yourself and integrating them as one, accepting them, and then kind of like releasing and surrendering to that part of you is such a great way to bring your energy together, because you're constantly using energy to like keep that part of you to the ground, hidden. But when you do that, you're using energy that you don't have to spend that way. Why not use the energy for what it's actually worth, which is you living out your purpose, activating your gifts, and being the ultimate version of yourself. So I love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I would love to hear if this resonated, and if you want to hear more on energy clearing and you want to hear more on building that muscle, anything you want to do, I would love to work on that with you. Okay? See you guys later.